Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, the One Piece podcast that feels the chill of the Grand Line right alongside the crew. We are breaking down chapter 132, Totally Fine.
A title that is, of course, entirely ironic. Almost nothing in this chapter is fine. In fact, one could argue it's one of the most dire non-combat situations the Straw Hats have found themselves in to date.
Not even a little bit fine, because this is the chapter where Vivi gets shot, point blank. And what happens in the seconds right after that? It's one of the most important moments for Luffy as a captain that we have seen yet. It's a moment that forges his character in the ice of a winter island.
It's a moment that defines the difference between a pirate crew and a future king's court. It's about learning what kind of strength actually matters. Is it the strength to punch a mountain or the strength to bow your head in the snow?
Exactly. If you want to follow a crew that's learning those lessons the hard way, you should probably point your log pose right at our subscribe button so you never lose the signal. But man, let's just get into it, because the tension starts on page 1, and Oda does not let up, not for a second.
It really does. We open on Nami, and she is not well. The last we saw her, she was feeling a bit under the weather. Here, she's burning up with a high fever. Her breathing is shallow, she's sweating through her clothes, and the crew is helpless.
They are completely out of their element. This isn't an enemy they can punch. It's not a cannonball they can deflect. It's a sickness, an internal enemy, and it's taking down the single most essential person for their navigation. The mood on the ship is pure, unfiltered panic.
You can see the worry on everyone's faces. Usopp is freaking out in the background, and Luffy, bless his simple, beautiful heart, has the most Luffy solution imaginable. He just goes, "She's hot, right? Let's dump a bucket of water on her."
It's so dumb, but it comes from such a pure place. His brain is a direct line from problem to solution with no stops in between. Problem, fire. Solution, water. Problem, heat. Solution, cold. There's no malice there. He genuinely thinks he's helping. It's like trying to fix a delicate watch with a sledgehammer.
It's pure, uncut, first-level thinking, and it speaks to his upbringing. Luffy grew up in a jungle, then was trained by mountain bandits. His life has been about survival in its most primal form. Sickness was probably a weakness you just had to punch through or die from. The concept of medicine, of delicate care, is completely alien to him.
And Vivi and Sanji immediately lose their minds. Sanji is ready to kick his captain into next week for even suggesting it. You can see the veins popping on his head. "Are you an idiot?" he screams, and for once, yeah, Luffy kinda is. But it's an innocent idiocy. You can feel the panic radiating off the page. This isn't a fight they can win. This is a sickness, and they're just a bunch of brawlers and a cook and a sniper on a boat.
Which is when Vivi steps in with the actual captain-level decision. She's the one who takes a deep breath, assesses the situation logically, and realizes the immediate danger isn't just Nami's fever, it's the ship itself. She says they have to stop, drop anchor right now, because sailing without Nami is a death sentence.
That's the part that hits so hard. It's not just that their friend is sick. That's bad enough. It's the catastrophic existential threat it poses to everyone. It's the realization that their entire journey, their entire ability to exist on this ocean hinges on her. Without their navigator, the Going Merry is just a floating coffin waiting for a storm or a sea king to claim it.
It's the first time the crew has been confronted with their own fragility in this way. They can punch a sea king and they can fight a warlord, they can outrun the Marines, but they can't fix a fever. Their individual strengths are immense, but they have critical, gaping weaknesses in their collective skill set. They are a deeply imbalanced crew at this point.
And it's Vivi who has to be the adult in the room and make the hard call, not Luffy. That's a really important distinction. He's the captain, the heart of the crew, the one who sets the destination, but he's not always the leader in every moment. He has the wisdom to let the person with the most knowledge take the lead. He doesn't know what to do, so he lets Vivi, who does, make the call. That in itself is a form of great leadership.
It's a sign of a healthy command structure, ironically, for a pirate crew. Authority is fluid based on expertise. When it's about navigation, Nami leads. When it's about food, Sanji leads. Here, in a crisis of care and logistics, Vivi leads. Luffy's captaincy is about empowering his crew, not controlling them.
Exactly. They're all just standing there useless, while Vivi is the one taking charge, trying to do all the things you're supposed to do for someone with a high fever. She has this quiet competence that just shines in moments of chaos.
Later, after they've dropped anchor, we get a quiet scene. The sun is setting, casting this beautiful, somber light over the ship. Nami wakes up, delirious, and she mumbles about the weather changing. Even on death's door, she's a navigator first. And through her blurry vision, she sees Sanji on lookout, a silhouette against the twilight sky, keeping watch over everyone.
It's one of my favorite Sanji panels in the early series. It's a small moment, but it speaks volumes about him. He's always the one watching, always the one making sure everyone is safe, fed, and protected. He's the guardian of the crew in his own way. He doesn't make a big show of it, he just does it. It's his default state.
It's pure, uncut, first-level thinking, and it speaks to his upbringing. Luffy grew up in a jungle, then was trained by mountain bandits. His life has been about survival in its most primal form. Sickness was probably a weakness you just had to punch through or die from. The concept of medicine, of delicate care, is completely alien to him.
He's the crew's mom, man. He's the one making sure you ate, you're warm, and you're not in danger. He'll kick your ass, but he'll make you a sandwich after. It's that duality that makes him such a super character.
The next day, things seem a little calmer, at least on the surface. Nami's still sick, but they're stable. And Usopp, ever the worrier, brings up the pirates they ran into before, the ones whose captain got launched into the sea by Luffy.
Right, the weirdos on the tin submarine thing. Usopp's a little spooked, which, fair, they left a threat behind. You don't just knock a guy's teeth out and launch him into the horizon and expect there to be no consequences. But Sanji just brushes it off completely. Pay it no mind, he says. They were idiots.
Which is such a classic, cool Sanji line. It's brimming with confidence. But also, maybe not the best advice. On the Grand Line, we've seen time and time again that underestimating anyone is a fatal mistake. Look at Buggy. He was a joke in Orange Town, and yet he keeps popping back up, causing chaos.
That's what I was thinking. It feels a little too dismissive. I get it, they seemed like clowns, their captain seemed like a complete buffoon, but a clown with a grudge is still a guy with a grudge, and on this ocean, that can come back to bite you. It feels like Oda is planting a seed, like this is definitely going to come back to haunt them.
It's a Chekhov's gun on a tin submarine. No loose end in this story stays a loose end for long. Everything comes back. Sanji might think they're just idiots, but idiots can still be dangerous, especially if they have power or resources. Sanji's confidence is one of his greatest strengths, but here it might be a significant blind spot.
And while they're having this conversation, Sanji notices something else. It's cold, like really cold. They're all bundled up in winter coats. Luffy's got that awesome red and white fluffy coat on, which on the Grand Line, with its chaotic weather patterns, means only one thing.
An island. The influence of a stable climate is beginning to overpower the chaos of the sea. And this is where Vivi drops a massive piece of world building on us, a fundamental rule of how this entire sea works. It's a moment where the story pauses and says, pay attention, this is important.
This is your territory, Robin. You're the archaeologist, the lore master. Break it down for us.
With pleasure. Vivi explains that there are 4 types of islands on the Grand Line, each with its own season: summer, spring, autumn, and winter. The chaotic weather we've seen, the sudden snowstorms, the heat waves, the whirlpools, isn't random. It's the volatile space between these stable island climates clashing with each other.
So the log post isn't just pointing to a location, it's pointing to a stable magnetic field, which in turn is generated by an island with a stable climate. That is such an elegant piece of writing. It takes something that felt like pure fantasy chaos and grounds it in a system, in a set of rules. It makes the world feel so much more real and thought out.
It explains everything. It explains why Alabasta is a perpetual desert and Little Garden is a prehistoric summer island. The closer you get to one, the more its specific climate aura, for lack of a better term, takes over. The cold they're feeling is the island's influence reaching out across the water, a meteorological handshake. It's a brilliant way to build anticipation for what they're about to find.
It's such a cool concept. The islands themselves have seasons. The sea is chaos, the land is order, and it retroactively makes their journey so far make more sense. You can almost map it out now. They left the summery climate of Little Garden, passed through a neutral zone, and are now entering a winter climate sphere of influence. And right on cue, through the mist, they see it. A winter island, a giant snow-covered mountain rising out of the ocean.
And for a moment, it's pure, unadulterated relief. Land, a doctor, safety for Nami. You can feel the entire crew exhale. The worst is over, they think. We found help.
That feeling lasts for about 30 seconds, because the moment they approach the shore, the welcome party comes out, and they're not holding welcome baskets or flowers. They're holding rifles, dozens of them. An entire town is lined up on the shore, armed to the teeth, and they look terrified.
The hostility is immediate and absolute. It's a wall of fear and aggression. They're shouting at the Straw Hats to leave, calling them pirates, refusing to listen to a single word. There's no negotiation, no curiosity, just a command, get out.
And this isn't just we don't like pirates here. This feels deeper. We saw that in Kokoyashi Village, but that was a defiance born of simmering rage. This is different. This is a visceral, terrified reaction. These people are not just cautious, they're traumatized. They look like prey animals that have been cornered for too long.
Exactly. Their posture, their expressions, it's all defensive. Vivi, ever the diplomat, tries to reason with them. She's calm, she's respectful, she's explaining they aren't here to raid or pillage, that they have a sick crewmate who will die without a doctor. She's appealing to their basic human compassion, and the response from the villagers is just chilling.
They just do not care. The man in front, the leader, looks pained but resolute. They tell them to go to the next island. They know full well that could be a death sentence for Nami, and they don't even blink. That's your problem, they say. It's brutal.
You have to ask yourself, what happened on this island to make an entire town so devoid of compassion? To hear that a young woman is dying and to actively refuse to help. It suggests a wound so deep that it has calcified their hearts. Their own survival has become so paramount that they can't afford empathy for anyone else. Their own society has been broken.
Whatever it was, it broke them completely, and it leads to the moment the whole chapter was building towards. Vivi keeps pleading, and they get more agitated. They start attacking, not just warning shots. They're trying to drive them off. And a shot rings out, a single, sharp crack in the cold air.
And Vivi goes down. She's been hit in the arm. She clutches it, blood blooming on her white coat. It's a shocking panel. The violence is so sudden and senseless.
My heart just plummeted. Here's this princess who has been through hell, who is trying to save her entire kingdom from a civil war, who is putting herself on the line for this crew. And these people she's trying to help, these citizens she's trying to appeal to, just shoot her for nothing, for the crime of asking for a doctor.
And Luffy? He just snaps. The switch flips. Oda is a master of this. He draws Luffy's face, and all the light goes out of it. The hat casts a shadow over his eyes, and you just see this cold, focused fury. The fun-loving, meat-headed captain is gone, and the monster who protects his friends is there. He is about to dismantle that entire village.
He was going to wreck every single one of them. Gomu Gomu no Pistol was already loading up, and honestly, I was right there with him. You hurt one of his friends, especially someone as good and pure as Vivi, and you forfeit your right to walk away unscathed. That's the Straw Hat rule. We saw it with Krieg, we saw it with Arlong. You press that button, you get the consequences.
But this is where the chapter, and indeed the entire arc, turns, because as Luffy is winding up to unleash hell, Vivi, bleeding from a gunshot wound, in pain, grabs his arm. She stops him.
That strength, the presence of mind to, in that moment of agony and betrayal, think about the bigger picture. She knows if Luffy attacks, they lose everything. They'll never get a doctor for Nami. They'll just be another brutal pirate crew, proving the villagers' fears right and validating their violence. She wins the moral high ground by refusing to sink to their level.
She begs him not to fight back. Please stop. And he's fighting it. You can see the rage warring with his trust in her. His entire being is screaming to retaliate, to protect, to avenge. But he listens. He stops his punch midair because he trusts his friends more than he trusts his own anger. That is a profound moment of maturity for him.
And then comes the moment, the super moment of the entire arc so far for me. Vivi calms him, and then she does the unthinkable. She ignores her wound. She steps forward, gets on her knees in the snow, and she bows her head to the ground, a doge, the deepest, most sincere form of apology and supplication. She begs these people who just shot her for help. Please, she says, don't shoot anymore. We won't resist. I'm begging you. Our friend is going to die. Please save her.
It's an act of profound humility. A princess, royalty, bowing to commoners who have just assaulted her. She is putting Nami's life above her own pride, her own pain, and her own status. And then Luffy does it too.
Bro, when Luffy bowed, I got chills, actual goosebumps. Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will not bow to anyone, the man who stared down Mihawk, who punched his way through Arlong Park, who defies the entire world on principle. He gets on his knees and puts his forehead in the snow. He begs, not for himself, for Nami.
He's learning a different kind of strength from Vivi. He understands the power of the punch. He is a master of it. But here, Vivi shows him another kind of power, the power of vulnerability, of humility. He's learning that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not to throw a punch, but to show that you are willing to lower yourself for the sake of someone you care about.
It is one of the single greatest character moments for him yet. This is the moment he stops being just a strong pirate captain and starts becoming a king. He is actively choosing to be the kind of king who understands this. It's not just about being the strongest. It's about being the one who can inspire this kind of loyalty and return it in kind by sacrificing his own monumental pride.
And it works. It completely disarms the villagers. They are stunned into silence. Their rifles waver. They have a script in their heads for how pirates act. Pirates are violent, proud, and cruel. What Luffy and Vivi just did is not in that script. It's an action so unexpected it short-circuits their fear and prejudice. Their leader is completely taken aback. He's never seen a pirate do that. No pirate would ever bow.
It shatters their entire worldview in 1 second. He sees that these aren't the same kind of monsters that hurt them before. He sees the sincerity in their actions. So he relents. He orders his men to lower their weapons. He tells them there is a doctor. Just one, the only one left in the entire country.
But there's a catch. Of course there is. This is the Grand Lane. He says he'll lead them to her, but he gives them a warning. The doctor, he says, lives at the top of the mountain in the old castle, and she is a witch.
What a line to end on. A witch. After everything they've just been through, the sickness, the panic, getting shot, begging for their lives, their only hope for saving Nami is a doctor that the locals have branded as a witch. The stakes just keep getting higher and higher.
It raises so many questions. Is she literally a witch with strange powers? This is the One Piece world, so it's not entirely out of the question. Or is she just an outcast? A brilliant doctor with a terrible personality that has alienated everyone? The term a witch has historically been used to persecute women who are independent, intelligent, and don't conform to social norms.
Or maybe she's just a woman living alone on a mountain, and in a place this broken and fearful, that's enough to earn you a title like that. Someone who doesn't play by their rules is a threat, a monster, a witch.
It's a perfect cliffhanger. Their journey to save Nami is only just beginning, and it's already led them to a hostile island, a gunshot wound, and a mysterious witch doctor at the top of an unclimbable mountain.
Before we wrap the breakdown, let's just touch on Oda's author comment for the week. He's congratulating one of his staffers, Ye-san, on having a baby girl. Says, "Congratulations, it's a girl. You're a daddy now, Ye-san." It's just a nice, wholesome little reminder of the real people with real lives behind this incredible story.
A little ray of sunshine and a touch of human reality after a very tense and emotionally heavy chapter. A nice palate cleanser.
For sure. Alright, that was chapter 132, totally fine. It was an absolute emotional gauntlet, a masterclass in raising stakes and developing character through adversity. What do you think is going to happen with this so-called witch doctor? Let us know what your theories are down in the comments. We always love seeing what you guys are thinking.
Now for predictions. Franky, what do you see coming in chapter 133 and beyond?
Okay, I've got 3. First, this witch doctor is going to be incredibly eccentric and demand some insane price for her services. Not money, but something ridiculous. I'm thinking she'll make them do some impossible task, or maybe she'll just demand all their booze. Something that tests their resolve in a new way.
A test of character rather than a monetary transaction. I can definitely see that. It fits the themes of this chapter. What's number 2?
Number 2, those pirates that Sanji dismissed are absolutely the ones who terrorize this island. Their leader is the former king of this country, and his tyranny is why everyone is so broken and paranoid. Sanji's casual dismissal was a huge red flag, and that captain is going to come back to reclaim his throne, putting him in direct conflict with the Straw Hats who were just trying to get medical help.
That connects the dots very neatly. It would explain the villagers' deep-seated fear of pirates and their broken spirit. A tyrant they can't get rid of. A strong theory. And your third?
The journey up the mountain to find the doctor is going to be a brutal trial. It won't be a simple walk. The village leader will guide them, but the mountain itself will be an antagonist. There will be obstacles, maybe giant Arctic rabbit things or avalanches, and Luffy will have to carry Nami, but I think Sanji, who is only wearing a thin suit, will also succumb to the cold, meaning Luffy will have to carry both of them. It'll be a massive feat of endurance born of pure willpower.
That feels very plausible. A physical trial to match the emotional one they just went through on the beach. Okay, my turn. My first prediction is that the witch label is purely social. This doctor is probably a brilliant but abrasive woman, maybe over 100 years old, who refuses to bow to whatever authority ruined this island. The people, in their fear, resent her for her freedom and her sharp tongue, so they call her a witch.
Oh, I like that. A political angle. She's not a magical witch, she's a social and political one, a dissident. That's a very Robin theory. What else?
Second, we're going to meet her assistant, and this assistant is going to be the real reason for her reputation. It's going to be some kind of strange creature, not human. Maybe a talking animal or something equally bizarre that she's been teaching medicine to. The villagers see this monster and her, and their fearful minds jump to the conclusion of witchcraft and familiars.
A talking animal on a winter island? Bro, that sounds wild, like a little blue-nosed reindeer or something. I'm into it. That would definitely freak out a traumatized populace. What's your last one?
My third prediction is that the village leader is going to become a key ally. The act of Luffy and Vivi bowing didn't just earn them a doctor's visit, it earned them his respect and planted a seed of rebellion in him. He's going to see in them the strength his country has lost. He's going to actively help them against whatever threat is plaguing this island, probably those pirates you mentioned, and will be a pivotal figure in liberating the island.
Man, I hope so. He seems like a good dude who's just been pushed to the brink. Solid predictions all around. I guess we'll just have to wait and see who this witch really is and if she can save our navigator. Join us next time as we climb the mountain. Until then, keep your eye on the log pose.